Here we're going to talk about multiplying binomials with leading coefficient of 1. The rule is really the same for multiplying binomials in general, but we're starting out with kind of the easiest ones. But this is what everybody likes to call it, FOIL. What does FOIL stand for? First, outside, inside, last. FOIL isn't a rule in and of itself, it's a way to remember a rule. All we're doing here is distributing. But when we have 2 terms times 2 terms, we end up with 4 multiplications, and so this is a good way to make sure if we always do it in the same order, it'll maybe help us remember all the parts, or maybe even get a little bit faster at it. So let's try one. So x plus 5, x minus 5, x plus 2. So FOIL is talking about the positions of the numbers we're trying to multiply. So first means the first number in each parenthesis. So there's 2 pieces here, right? This one's got an x and a -5, this one's got an x and a 2. So there's the first 2 pieces in each parenthesis are our first 2 terms. I like to also draw little arrows when I'm new to it to remind myself that I get all 4 of these. So my first term here is x times x, which is x squared. Then O, for outside or outer, I want the outermost terms. Well, if I have 4 to choose from, notice how this very first one and this very last one are on the outside of the problem. They're on the edge, the front and the back of it. So the 2 outer terms are x and 2. Well, what's x times 2? 2x. And so now we go I for inner or inside. And so if these were the 2 outside terms, these are the 2 inside terms, -5 and x. Be careful, if it's a negative, that goes with the number. So this is -5 times x gives us -5x. And then very last, we have last. So if x and x were the first 2 terms, the last 2 terms in each set of parentheses is the -5 and the 2. And -5 times 2 is -10. And so we're done distributing. Notice we multiplied everything to everything else. There were 4 terms. We got them all matched up. And now in this, we want to see if there's any like terms, because we always want to simplify as much as we can. So x squared plus 2x minus 5x, these 2 inside-outside terms are both telling us how many x's we have, so we can get those together. And positive 2 and -5 gives us -3x. So x squared minus 3x minus 10. We successfully FOILed. Well, let's try one more. We'll go back to the whiteboard. Let's try this. W minus 7, W minus 1. So letters can be anything. This one we still have 2 terms and 2 terms. So this is a binomial and this is a binomial. We have the right amount of terms to use FOIL as our little shortcut or our acronym to remember it. So our first, outside, inside, last, our first 2 terms are W times W, which gives us W squared. Our outside 2 terms are W and -1. Be careful, the negative goes with it. So W times -1 is -1W. You can just write as -W if you want to. You can write the -1 either way. And now our inside 2 terms, -7 times W is -7W. And then our last 2 terms, and we'll be careful about the signs here, -7 times -1 is +7. Right, a negative times a negative. And so now if we're trying to get like terms together, this -W and this -7W, we can add, they're both telling us how many W's. So -1 and -7 gives us -8. W plus 7.